Hello, hello. Welcome to Tuesday Tea Time. I'm back. I've been out of communication for a couple of weeks because the end of my teaching tour gets a little bit hectic sometimes. But I'm home. I'm home with my herd. They're all around me. And it feels good to be home. So I know a lot of you guys catch this on the replay. Some of you guys may show up here in real time. But I'm going to just dive right back into this. So now that I'm home, I get to be home for 11 weeks. And I'm very, very excited about being home with my herd for so long. And I've really thought a lot about what do I want to get done in the next 11 weeks that I'm home. So I find that we tend to measure progress with what can you do? You know, what movements can you make your horse do? What places can you take them? What ways can you ride them? Those sort of tends to be the measure of progress. But that's not my favorite measure of progress. My favorite measure of progress is how we feel together. It's a little bit harder to measure. And so I've developed some ways of taking notes. I've developed some ways of measuring improvement in feeling. And this is really the most interesting to me. It's not that we're not going to go do things. We are going to work on our yields. We're going to work on our movements. We may even ride at some point. But that's not the measure of progress that I'm interested in. It is a measure of progress, but it's not my favorite measure. So what is my favorite measure of progress? I think first I got to tell you a little bit of a story. There's a scientific study that they did with small children where they had children draw a picture from their imagination using their creativity. And then half the children, they told them what a good job they did, and they got a gold star for doing a drawing. The other half the children, they gave no comment on whether it was good or whether it was bad, but instead they asked the children about it. How do you feel about it? What do you think about it? Can you tell me about it? Then they found, as the children drew more pictures, the children that had drawn a picture and gotten a gold star and told they did a good job, they repeated the same picture over and over and over again. Their creativity was then stunted. The children that were asked about it, asked about how they felt about the drawing, asked about what it meant to them, asked about what it was about, those children continued to create new and different drawings. I think working with horses is not that dissimilar from working with children. And so when I ask a horse to try a movement, whether it's a backup or a shoulder yield or a haunch yield, or to follow me through a scary place or to go to a new place through the forest, whatever activity we're doing, instead of saying, good job, I want to ask the horse how they felt about it. Because that is going to lead to more creativity, which ultimately, I think, feels better for everyone. So what do I look for when I ask a horse how they feel about something? It's going to be in the pauses between doing. So when we're doing something, we can be doing something cooperatively, and that's going to be a yield where the horse moves away from me at a slow enough pace that I can move with them. It's going to be play, which is where the horse moves towards me or into me gently enough that I enjoy it as much as they do. It's going to be fight, which means they come towards me and they push into me in a way I don't like, or flight, where they're trying to get away from me. So those are the ways we take action together. Hopefully, we're doing it in the cooperative way, not the uncooperative way. But either way, those are our actions. When we get done with an action and we want to know how the horse feels about it, that's going to be in the pause afterwards. So in the pause afterwards, you're going to look at the 5 senses. What are their ears doing? What are their eyes doing? What are they smelling? What are they tasting? I don't use taste a whole lot because that one can get very confused with eating. Eating and tasting is sometimes a difficult differentiation. So I mostly focus on the hearing, the sight, the smelling, and the feeling. But horses can tell you how they feel by showing you how they use their five senses, or refusing to use their five senses. So if you get to the end of a project, whether you're crossing a stream together or you're going around some trees, when you're done with it and you're ready for a pause, well, the first question is the horse willing to pause? If they're not willing to pause, it's possible they don't feel that good about what they just did, and they're still sort of trying to find a good feeling. So it is possible they want to keep in action, keep working towards a good feeling if they feel like it's not good enough. Once they are willing to pause, notice, are they still using their sensory system? If they're using their sensory system, that is going to tell you that they actually felt pretty good about what they just did. If they shut down and they just go into full relax mode, that tells you that they're at the edge of the capacity that they have for feeling. It doesn't mean that they feel bad. It just means they feel full. Like all of their feelings are topped up and they need rest. Okay, so don't take every freeze as meaning the horse feels bad. Sometimes it just means they felt as much as they can feel in that moment and they need to process for a little while. You'll find out next time you do it whether they processed a good feeling or a bad feeling. So anytime I ask a horse to do something, I really want to see that they can still use their sensory system when they're done. If they take an action and they can no longer use their sensory system, I've probably pushed them a little bit farther than I should have. Not guaranteed, but it's a hint. And so this is what I work on a lot with my herd, is can I ask them to do something? Can we go somewhere? Can we do a yield? Can we take some action together and still use the sensory system when we get to the pause afterwards? So this is the theory, and the better we get at it, the more enjoyment we have. The more enjoyment we have, the more creativity the horses have. I'm not talking naughty creativity. I'm talking creativity of being able to find new ways to be cooperative together, new ways to make each other happy, new ways to enjoy life together. I don't want a horse that's a robot that just performs the tasks I gave them a gold star for. I want a horse that's thinking, how could we enjoy life better together? And so in order to develop that, in order to use that as my marker of success, after each thing I ask them to do, when we get to the pause point, I need to see that they're still able to use their sensory system. And then after they use their sensory system, it's great for them to shut down a little bit, rest their brain, process what they've learned, and then we can go again. So we're working in strings of action where we take an action, we try a thing. Could be a movement, could be an adventure, could be any number of things. We try something. Then we ask the horse, how did you feel about that? How was that for you? Then they rest on it, they process it, and we repeat. And we have some room there for, about 20% failure. It's okay if they try something and it's a little overwhelming, or they didn't like it, or it makes them less cooperative. Well, that's okay. Let's just stay in action a little bit longer and see if we can find some variation that actually feels good for everybody involved. Then we'll rest on it. making sure that they can use their sensory system before we rest and we process. So some of you guys may know I was last week at the Western States Horse Expo. We had 8 yearling Mustangs that we got to work with in front of an audience for 3 days and show different ways of gentling horses. So there were 5 trainers there with 5 yearlings that were doing each one their own version of starting a wild baby, hopefully getting to the place where they could wear a halter and be led. Some of them got there, some of them didn't. And that wasn't really through the fault of the trainer. Some of the babies were more wild, some of them were less wild. I had 3 to demonstrate with, and it's so much fun. It's so much fun working with those wild babies because they're so honest and genuine about their responses. Nobody's taught them what they should or shouldn't do. They do exactly what they feel. And what I was able to show over 3 days was how it's more about how they feel with me than what they do for me. And I like taking the slower route of training. It's not going to be for everybody, but the way I like to train is we develop the feelings all along the way so that by the time we get to the doing seems easy. Now, as I was demonstrating, there was a lot of doing as I walked around the pen, and I practiced being on the left side, and I practiced being on the right side, and I practiced being in front of them, and I practiced being behind them. And my goal was to practice being in all the spaces around those babies without scaring them, without irritating them, but working around them until their sensory system was really working nicely, and they could tell me how they felt. Then resting to let them process how they felt, how the information that came in through their sensory system in association with me. So it was absolutely some of the most fun I ever have when I work with new wild ones because they're so honest. They have no preconceived notions of how they should behave or what they get a gold star for. They just tell you how they feel. And then you get to respond to it and slowly and gently shape a relationship over time with shared good experiences. That's my favorite thing in the world to do. So I'm home with my horses. I get to be home for 11 weeks. I'm just about to start the next online course that starts the beginning of July. If any of you guys are interested in a really deep dive with me, I have a few more spaces for students. So drop me an email if you'd like to join. And this is what I do. This is what I love doing. It's what I love doing more than anything in the whole world. I know I can train horses to do a million tasks. I know that I can make them very well behaved. But I've gotten to a point in my life where it's more important to me how they feel than what they do. And if we're lucky, they can do a lot of things while feeling really, really good. So I hope that's good food for thought for you. I will be back next Tuesday. Drop me an email if you feel like you might be interested in joining me for the online course. I also have some great clinics coming up in August and September in Taos, New Mexico, in Iceland, in Portugal, in Poland. I feel like I'm dropping. Oh, in Germany. So I'd love to see you guys wherever in the world I get a chance to, or on the online medias. Thank you guys.